Good morning, evening, afternoon. Masati here. Welcome. A great Sunday here in my hometown, Minneapolis. Again, really fantastic, beautiful weather. By the way, have you noticed that the weather has really changed all over the world? Kind of crazy, right? And you might think, well, it's global warming, it's this and that. And, we always associate whatever is happening in the universe to what we're doing because we think that we're, gosh, you know what, the centerpiece of the universe. We affect things, we affect change. We've got all these global people throughout the whole world, getting together and going, what are we doing about climate change? What are we doing about this? What are we doing about that? Well, you really can't do anything about it. Okay. You should be taking care of the planet for sure, in your own cosm. As human species, we should be taking care of that. But then the bigger picture is that the Earth has changed. Even before humans came about, Earth was changing. Earth was evolving. It was ice. 100 feet of ice in New York, and then it was underwater, and all that. Again, it's part of the process of change, transformation. Right? The universe changes, planets change, the solar system changes, Earth changes, nature changes, but then humans want to just stay the same, and that's the problem. People, we want to stay the same despite consciousness is elevating forward and forward. Which brings us back to our topic, Olympics beyond the games. And it's just my view on the Olympics as a mirror of society. Right? And as a note, you can use the political system as a mirror of society. You can use your religion as a mirror of society. You can use how you raise your kids, schooling, your exercise program as a mirror of society. Anything can be used as a reflector, as a reference point, because this reality is about reference points. You can use huge reference points because some people need their asses kicked, or you can use minor reference point. Those who are exponentially intelligent, have you noticed that even the slightest, say, thought that you have, or the slightest action that you have, it's like, damn, that's a reflection. It's like, oh, that's how I am treating this reality, or I'm treating myself in this reality. Again, raise your hands on people who are feeling that way, right? Someone G feeling pinned up in anger. I don't want to stay the same. That's really good. A lot of people are feeling that way. Whether you're practicing exponential intelligence, XI science, it's just a faster, easier, more methodical way of getting out of that space, liberating yourself, right? Or the masses that are pent up, feeling anger, protesting, like in the UK, in other places, right? They're protesting. They're protesting against, say, the political system, their parents, basically. And that's what it turned out to be. Everything is a protest nowadays. We've used everything. The Olympic Games was actually supposed to, connect us together, understand us together, have competition together so we can be and we can rise our challenges. But in fact, what's happened to it? It's distorted us, it's separated us, just like everything. How many times have I said, again, no matter what we do in this consciousness, in this reality, as humans, what we do, no matter how benevolent the intent is, and no matter how benevolent it starts, it always turns destructive. Right? So that one more time. No matter how benevolent, no matter how pure your intent is, it will always turn destructive in this reality. Why is that? Have you ever wondered? And by the way, if you don't believe me, comment in. This is a great opportunity for you to understand that concept. Okay? Why does everything that is supposed to be beneficial for you um, turn out to be not so great? But then once you become exponentially intelligent, those things actually turn out to be great, right? And again, those people who don't believe me, those people who are new to me, we always get a lot of new people. So thank you guys. Walk, just as a kind reminder, subscribe, like this channel, tell your friends about it. Okay, especially if you don't like them, uh, it might wake them up. All right. So feels sacred. Would love a scan. Yeah, we'll scan you guys later on. Okay. All right. So Gosh, no questions on that, huh? All right. All right. So the deal. So the riots, for example. Let's just start with the riots, okay? And then we'll get into the Olympics because it'll tell you. Basically, it's just a clear example. It's a clear example. By the way, Carolyn, concerned about your rising blood pressure. Um, Again, after this, I'll scan you all, okay, and help you with that. All right. So take a breath in. We'll just make it an experiential experience. Okay. Listen, take a look at the riots that's happening, okay? People are getting fed up, people are awakening, people are wanting their liberation, and then what's happening is like, hey, they're looking outside of themselves to liberate themselves. That's the problem. We're using, no matter what it is, black, what is it? The black movement, right? The women's movement, all those movements, they're protesters, the LGBT movement, everything that's out there. Um, Gosh, what else is there? The religious movement, the Jews, the everything. What they do, again, in all those groups, okay? And I know I'm sure there's a fantastic reason underneath it, but I'm just giving you an idea of that's not the way to liberate yourself. Simple as that. I don't care what I don't care what you're trying to free or liberate yourself from. That is not the way to liberate yourself. The Olympic Games is not an avenue for you to liberate yourself or show what's important to you. Okay, it doesn't work out. It hasn't worked out. It hasn't worked out for eons. So and as this rises, that's the crazy thing as well. As the problems rise, because it does in this reality, more and more problems are arising. That's why there's so much chaos in the world today. And at the same time, there are so many opportunities. It always balances out. Nature always has an opportunity for you to balance itself out. So if there's humans are creating a lot of chaos up here, well, the opportunities for humans to take advantage of that chaos and move forward, like if you're exponentially intelligent, it's like shit. I'm taking this route. Most people take this route and they create more chaos for themselves. So, all those demonstrations and all those legalities that people push their governments for rules and all that stuff, which is all bullshit, by the way, it doesn't help. It chains everybody down, and that's what's happening, right? All right. So, when you're pushing against something and then you're telling other people, right, to solve it for you, because that's what it is, you lose control over yourself. People go, God, you know what? We're going to protest. We're going to have this. And again, there's nothing wrong with protesting in itself. There's nothing wrong with standing in your right. But the reason why you're doing it, you're coming from a very weak thinking that other people should right your wrong, by the way. It's the frequencies that you're running that is creating the situations that we are all entangled. If you're humans, by the way, a good number of us we're not part of that group anymore. Have you noticed that? Right? We've created our own, say, human mastermind, which is really fantastic. All right. So the key is all those people that want to change the world ask is like, what part of me is still resonating? What is a complementary pattern? You're just like a magnet. What is a complementary pattern? I call them frequencies, okay, that you are running that is making you part of that system that you do not want to be like. Okay? Even if you're against the system, you are you to create your reference of who you are. What do? You have to reference your system that you hate to be you, which perpetuates the system more for you. So the more people rise up and try to be free, the more the system controls you. Okay. Now, do you want to know the secret to freeing yourself from the system, moving away from the matrix, as they call it? Okay? Don't play their game. Simple. Okay? You protesting, it's just more. Have you ever noticed in really bad relationships, you get to a point that you're protesting, and then all of a sudden, you're arguing, you're butting heads, and then all of a sudden, you don't even butt heads anymore? and then you just fall into the pattern and you accept it. Notice that cycle of humanity, right? People arise, people get uncomfortable, people, it's not fair, they protest. Look at the French Revolution, right? The protesters, they thought they got their freedom. They didn't. Right? It just cycled back. That's the problem, right? It's like, gosh, well, we freed the slaves. No, you didn't. It's just another form of slavery. Now everybody's enslaved, right? Think of it. All those protests, all those things, all those wars that we did for freedom, it didn't free you. It chained you more because the more you protested, and again, I there's nothing wrong with protesting. There's nothing wrong with anything like that. Picketing, whatever you do, ransacking things, it doesn't really matter. The purpose underneath it is the problem. Okay. All right. Take a deep breath in again. Look throughout history. Look at what has happened for you. The French Revolution, for example, right? The peasants didn't like it anymore. So again, they started the French Revolution, the Civil War here in the U.S. Did it do anything? Okay. It released the tension, and then what happened? And then the mechanics or the people just started to recreate things in different forms. It's like, yeah, you know what? That's not right. We'll do it underhandedly. We'll do it sleight of hand. We'll do it through media. We'll do it through the foods. We'll do it through whatever, right? You're enslaved now more than ever. Look at it. Look at us. Look at all the laws that have passed because people are getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And then more laws have to be passed to stabilize the weak, right? The people who are stronger, they're referencing the weak and going, I am not that, which is basically the same, by the way. It gives you the same results. So when people go, gosh, you know what? I hate Trump and then I hate Kamala. It's like, no, you're all part of the system because your identity is based on not liking the other group. If that other group didn't exist, it's like Tom and Jerry. What would the cat, the mouse and cat, what would they do without each other? They can't exist. It's like shit. It's boring. Look at all the people who the freedom fighters, right? If there's no fight for them, they have to create a fight. That's your governments. That's your religions. That's you. Right? Unless you're exponentially intelligent. That's really the key. Right? We need to remove this as a whole. And that's what exponential intelligence is about. This XI is about. That's what you all are doing. That's what you all have moved away from. You're not part of the system anymore. When you're not playing their game, they have no control over you because you didn't invest. It's like if you don't want to be part of the lottery, you don't buy the ticket. If you don't want to be part of the human game, the human destruction and all that, as it destroys itself, you don't want to invest your time nor your frequencies in it. You just want to be you, right? All right. British invasion of India. Exactly. Oh, look at it over and over and over again. The Brits still control India. uh, at a level. There's still slavery going on. Everything that you think you've got free of. Look, oh yeah, back in the day when vaccines were correct, right? Um, back in the day when vaccines were correct, they actually helped. But then again, look at what happened. It's controlling us, right? Again, anything benevolent that's out there will always destroy us because of the consciousness. It's not the thing. I just want to get it clear. It's not the thing that you're doing. Okay. Because if you go, well, I don't want to do anything that's wrong, then just don't do anything, which is even wrong as well. That doesn't even work because everything in this reality is literally upside down or ass backwards. And if you move to another consciousness, and I talk about this, the science of it. Okay. What about Afghanistan? Same thing. The U.S. they gave them their freedom back, right? But what did they do? They destroyed everything. They left the Taliban with I don't know, pallets of stacks and stacks and stacks of cash, weapons with the keys still in it. Uh, it's like, oh, here you go. Implode your own country, and then it's the exact same thing. It's like, here, implode your own country, and that's what they do. They give you the weapons to destroy your own selves. Right? Hence, Black Lives Matter. They gave you the weapons for that culture to destroy themselves within themselves. That's the powers to be, by the way, guys. Afghanistan, thanks for that. Was it Wana? That's the reason why. It's like they know what's going to happen, right? It's nothing benevolent, by the way. It just is really sad. Let's get back into the Olympics. All right. So let's talk about uh, Olympics beyond the games as a mirror of society. I kind of talked about that, but let's talk about the Olympics as what it should be. Okay, if it was exponentially intelligent and people had gone elevated themselves to a higher level of consciousness, okay, and it's not far fetched. Nature runs from a higher level of consciousness, and so everything's in balance and in harmony. Humans aren't. Hence, you can see the difference, right? And again, it's not a pie in the sky concept. Nature has done it billions of years and it keeps perfecting itself more and more. We can learn from that. Not that we're making a mistake, it's just that we're learning how to balance and harmonize ourselves as a node. Okay. All right. So the Olympics as a reflection of collective consciousness. This is the mirror that we all exist in. Right? So no matter what it is, again, look at it as a mirror. And if you're looking at the Olympics and it's disgraceful and all that stuff is like, and you're looking at that is like, what part of it, what frequency is it resonating in you that makes that disgraceful? Right? They're using people, they're doing this and all that. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm sure they are. But what are you going to do about it? Again, what frequency in you does it make that look disgusting for you? Okay. And then check out of the game. You do not use that as a reference point to create who you are. Okay? You're using all these distortions as literally as a crutch. Okay? And it doesn't work out. It never ever works out, like I said. Take a deep breath in. Okay? So as an XI Olympic, what that would be like, okay? Because a lot of people, unity and competition in a multidimensional world, for example, okay? Um, we can do competition nowadays. We're all equal. There should be no competition. Competition is bad for us, right? Competition destroys us. Competition makes enemies. Competition does that, and you're right, it does. But in this reality, if you did it the proper way, the way nature does it, or the universe does competition, well, competition can actually unify us. But what does it do in this reality? It doesn't unify us. It separates us. There's people, there's countries that go. There's countries that push their athletes to a point that they break down. That's how bad they want to win. They'll use drugs, they'll use whatever that they do. And again, that aspect on how you get to be the best destroys the fabric of consciousness. It's not just about winning the game anymore. It's about being, say, the best, right? And no matter what method, there's nothing wrong with being the best, by the way. Competition is really fantastic. In an XI world, competition should actually unify you, right? In any bit, in anything, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's professional sports, whether it's business, uh, trending, the next innovation. It should always elevate you to the next level. Healthy competition. But again, competition today is a bad word. It's a very negative word. We should all love each other. That's the spiritual side. We should all love each other and be at peace. Those individuals, they're one of the most competitive individual people I know. All those people that spouse, love and peace and all this bullshit, and then you connect with them personally, they're very, very competitive, right? Although despite the fact that it's like, I'm not competitive, you are. It's like, well, okay. So somebody poking Christianity right now. We'll talk about that, by the way. All right. So in an XI competition of nature, what happens is that somebody understands or gets into a higher level of understanding of, say, gymnastics, and they do an amazing, an amazing. I forgot what they call it. Floor practice. Okay. Um, yeah. What is it? Anyway, or they win in table tennis, right? Whatever it is, right? Which is really fantastic. Okay? But then, what did they get? How did they get to that point of perfection? That is the underlying frequency. Now, if you had to sacrifice, right, destroy yourself to get to that level of perfection, and there's nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing wrong with, putting all the hours that they do that, to make them perfect. But if you're feeling like you're sacrificing yourself, it doesn't really work out for anybody. That competition is useless because it doesn't expand, it doesn't strengthen the human fabric, right? It doesn't expand time and space. It deteriorates the fabric of humanity. That's what's wrong with it. That type of competition, destroying yourself to get ahead, that's what most people do. And that's why competition is bad. Right? In a normal, in an XI world, what you want to do is have competition, enhance who you are. So as you're practicing, taking all those hours, you become the best of yourself. You become the best of who you are. Again, in XI, no matter what you're doing, you could be in a toll booth. It's a great opportunity for you to expand and understand who you are as a brilliant being. Or you could try to win the gold medal, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, as long as you're expanding into who you are. But most of those individuals, most of those athletes, unfortunately, they spend 4 years for what, 5 minutes that they're on stage, and they might have just that bad day, and their 4 years are fucked up. And then their identity, because that's what they've anchored their whole concept of self, their identity. What happens? It's just like destructive, and then they're no good after that. I've worked with a lot of actually Olympic athletes, okay, that have won gold medals even, and it's like they're fucked up. They have no identity. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but quite a big portion. People, professional athletes, once they retire at a young age, they get fucked up. Navy SEALs who don't get into the Navy SEALs or the Green Beret, they get fucked up because their identity is based, especially if their family has gone through the process. Their family was an Olympian. I know this one kid that I helped. Grandfather was a Navy SEAL, father was a Navy SEAL. He went in, he failed the test several times. Totally just downward cycle. So, and then that's the youth. And that's that generation, what perpetuates the society. You don't want, that's not the competition that we want. That competition is is very, very destructive. Like Billy said here, nature competes. You're damn right. Nature competes all the time. It's always understanding itself to be its best possible self. And you notice that species, even if they're opposite, even if it's a lion and a gazelle, they compete. But what they do is like they whittle out the weak. They whittle out the weak on both sides, and then both sides get stronger and stronger. Okay? In this case, we create the weak. We destroy ourselves to be the best at a surface level. Now, nature does it totally the opposite way. It's like, what is it in me that allows me to be weak? And then they turn the weaknesses into strengths, by the way. And in fact, a lot of successful individuals, even if they haven't done it right, most of their success actually comes from turning their weaknesses into strengths. Read any biography, read any book about people who've been really successful. They've turned their weaknesses into success, and that's the pivotal key point or the foundation of their success. Fortunately, a lot of those individuals, when they become successful, they don't know how to get off that mechanism that created success. So over time, it destroys them. So the weakness, and that's really key, the weakness that perpetuated them to great power, fortune, and fame starts to destroy you. Okay. Because they can't get off that identity. Their identity was based on, I'm weak, now I'm strong. So the stronger you get, the weaker potential that you have. Does that make sense for you all? Okay. So just extrapolate that to groups, to societies, to countries, and then humanity. It's all the same, guys. It's fractals upon fractals upon fractals. If you know thyself, okay? If you know thyself, you know the world around you. Right? If you know thyself, you understand God at any level. All right. Take a deep breath in. So that's the way competition works. In a perfect world, what happens is the 4 years you you whittle away, you whittle away the distortions of your parents. You whittle away the distortions of society. You whittle away, the diseases and everything that keep you and hold you back. And as you excel in practicing whatever it is, gymnastics, bow and arrow, archery, swimming, whatever it is, when you're in that, you're in the moment of flow because you are perfection and you are experiencing whatever that you're experiencing, right? Swimming, gymnastics, it's amazing. And then when people see that, they go, oh my God, that's true beauty. That's true expansiveness. It's like an art. You literally start to generate your art form in real life, and that creates waves. And as the audiences go, gosh, you know what? I need to be a better person. I need to be a higher value, a higher consciousness person. What's your consciousness quotient, by the way? Your CQ, right? That's what we're here for. That's what competition is all about. Is it what you're practicing to be the best, elevating your consciousness quotient? Think of it that way. Just that's what we're doing here. Right? Most competition in any arena is a destructive force. All right. So take a deep breath in. Help you with a competition so you can compete against yourself. Okay. And then see what others is. This is where jealousy is really fantastic. Jealousy is another form of competition. Basically, you're going, oh, it's like, oh, somebody that looks beautiful and successful, and it's like you're not. It's like, oh, she probably slept her way to the top, and you create all these things to cut them down to make you feel better. They're exactly where they are. You just reference themselves in a different point of view to make you feel better. They didn't move in consciousness level, for example. Okay. Again, so look at the beauty, even if it came from a distorted perspective. Look at the beauty, look at the grace, look at whatever that you admire in that person that you're jealous about, right? Competition, and then go, that looks good on them. Is it? And then ask yourself, like, why can't I have that? What can I do? What frequencies can I delete for me to look as good as that person? And then that's where competition comes really handy. If somebody, won over something else, it's like, okay, I did really good. I did X, Y, and Z. They did that better, right? Because of the score, they did that better. It's like, oh, okay, I can learn from that. And then that's where competition again goes higher and higher for you. All right. So human potential and future of society. Those individuals. It's amazing what athletes are doing now. They can jump a lot higher. They can do amazing, especially in gymnastics. Okay, reason for that. Right? Yes, they've got better tools, better equipment to practice on, and so on like that. But the bigger reason on why they can do some of the amazing things that has never done before. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? And it's more freer, and more people are doing it. By the way, why is that? It's the Roger Bannister effect, right? And something else. and that I'll share with you in just a second. How much time do we have? Wow. Let's take a deep breath in. Okay. All right. So what that is that when people expand competition the proper way, for example, Roger Bannister, he was the first guy that broke the 4 minute mile. I call it the Roger Bannister effect. Um, Again, the first guy that broke the 4 minute mile, it was world news. It was celebrated. And then over time, a month later, like more people broke the 4 minute mile. And then nowadays, if you're not running a 4 minute mile, you're not really a professional runner. Got it? It just becomes standard. That is competition in its proper form. It's like when you open up a possibility of what we could do here in the physical reality, and then other people go, "Oh, I get it. That's how you did it." Right? They elevate it into that consciousness, that dimension of time and space, and then whatever it took physically to do that, more and more people are doing it. Consciousness is always expanding the possibilities. Humans, we just we basically flatline. Okay. So in that sense, competition is fantastic. So the other key ingredient on that is time and space is becoming more efficient. It's not as heavy. It's not as dense to create who you are physically. And look at nature. It's more free flowing. By the way, it's coming back. By the way, what that means is like you know how bulky your phone was, your cellular phone, right? Back in the day it became very efficient. Or remember the big parkas we had to wear? It was heavy as hell, right, to keep you warm. Now it's like they fit in your palm, right, in your fist. You can crumple it up and they keep you just as warm. Time and space is the same way. It's creating the fabric of this dimension of time and space is creating itself more efficiently. That way, you're freer in time and space. Gravity works different on you. You can manipulate it more. This is where people do, like people who do parkour, people who go skiing, and they do the jumps. Their hang time is longer. Why? Because time and space is different. So you can do a lot of those things that we can't. Look at the potential that this reality is giving us on human upgrade. Um, Self-actualization. There was so many presents. Remember that, guys? Comment in on that experience, by the way. Human upgrade, self-actualization. Did you notice all the presents that we didn't open that could have been us? And then did you notice all the presents for the future for us that is available if we choose to take it? We need to take all those possibilities that are given to us in a right way. And then there's no shortage, by the way. All right. So I just want to take a couple minutes, guys, and just talk about some of the controversies surrounding the Olympics. Okay. Okay. So I talked about what it should be. Okay. Talking about what it should be and how it could be and how it could elevate consciousness. It's a way of countries getting together, not separation, anything like that. Again, this one, I just have to answer this one. Do the mystics of India reach that higher consciousness? No, very few. Sorry, guys. Just like anything else, on the Mindscapes Unleashed, I talked about shamans, and I go, be wary of shamans. And somebody commented in, it's like, well, shamans, they do their work, and they're like, yeah, so do priests, so do doctors, so do whatever, whoever, sure, they do the work, but are they pure? Are they clean on the inside? That's all I was saying. True. And nowadays, shamans, you can title yourself as a shaman because you took 10 ayahuasca trips and that's it. Did you integrate those ayahuasca trips? That's all I was talking about. So just because you're a mystic and you studied under so and so, does that mean that you're that enlightened? They probably weren't enlightened. You're probably not going to get enlightened. Again, I'm not cutting those down, but I'm just telling you to watch out for what to do, so you can purify, so you can be a better version. Right? Look at the ones that got very, very popular and they got fucked up. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure there's good people here, good mystics out there, but for the most part, there's so many mystics. I had a good friend, super, super wealthy, invited me. It's like, yeah, you know what? Come over, come over and teach. I've got about 5,000 mystics that you can teach. I'm going, 5,000? Holy shit. That's a hell of a lot of mystics that are enlightened. And I'm going, I'm it's just scanning all the group, and I'm going, fuck, none of them are enlightened. They just say that they are. 5,000? If they were, they're certainly not at the level of a Buddha or a Muhammad or a Jesus. Okay? Then they would actually really stand out. But none of them stand out, right? So anyway, something else. So let's talk about all the weird stuff that's happening. Controversy surrounding the Olympics, protests, power of symbolism in sports. It's just another platform. The dialogue between humans have gotten so bad that we use any tool, whether it should be benevolent, a celebration, right, is used as an opportunity or as a weapon. So anything that puts us together, like I said in the past, anything that puts us together or should put us together as humans, come together as one, what is it used? Many individuals use it as, again, protesting. uh, you know, destroying the concepts of a certain religion in this case, right? Where some drag queens or whatever replayed whatever the dinner, right? And then it wasn't even about the dinner, but then you have all these protesters that said, "Hey, stop the Olympics because of this and all that," right? Again, what is it in you that allows that to happen? You really have to check. And then those individuals who want freedom, they don't want competition. We're all the same. It's like, well, why are you ridiculing, somebody's religion, by the way? Why would you do that? Right? Which brings us into the transgender athletes. And again, it's just, we're all equal. We're all the same. Well, it's just showing you that, especially in athletics, you're really not all the same. Right? And it's proven that way. Again, a guy turning himself into a woman and beating the shit out of a woman just because you changed yourself sexually and your identity. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a woman now. You change some parts. Your frequency is still of a man frequency. Okay. Don't want to get into the whole LGBT, all that stuff. But again, that is a destructive force that we're so confused in society, and we're all to blame, guys. They don't have mental issues. There's a lot of heterosexuals that are fucked up in their identity of who they are. Men aren't men. They're aggressive, and they're this and they're that. That's not what a man is. And then women, they're supposed to be sensitive and emotional and have that connection to earth. Bullshit. That's all bullshit. Nobody knows who they are. That's how fucked up the gene pool is in today's society. No offense, guys. You really are. Okay. There's a ton of people who have claimed that they're X. Okay. And then they go, oh, you know what? They clean up and they go, you know what? I'm not X. I am who I am. Okay. People have turned straight. People have embraced who they are. But either way, they've embraced their identity of who they are. Okay. So take a deep breath in. Again, it's a sensitive subject, because we all want to be who we are. But look at how you came to who you are. Because we've destroyed the genetics of our species. And by the way, this isn't the first time it's happened. Okay, back in the day, okay, cultures, Greek culture, Roman culture, all those cultures, Atlantean culture, you name it. The reason why they went extinct and their civilizations got buried is because they fucked up their frequency so bad that basically it's like, fuck, you guys are too fucked up. And then you kill yourselves off. So back then it was, just, we weren't all connected. So, certain locations, certain say cultures would just destroy themselves. Like the Mayan culture or the Atlantean culture or whatever you destroy. Now we're finding, archaeological sites of all these cities and all these cultures that have come through. Now, though, we're all as one. We're connected. Okay? Not because we're forcing ourselves to connect, just because consciousness dictates that we realize that we're all one and we're fighting amongst each other. So as a whole, we get so fucked up that basically this is where extinction happens for a species. It's so fucked up. It just doesn't relate to the consciousness. What does it have to do? At some point, we could either kill ourselves and then start over like we have in the past. I think this is the eighth version of humans, by the way. It's not the first time humans have gone extinct, right? You can check it out. This is the reason why we have an opportunity to really awaken and let go of that bullshit and then rise and understand who we are at a higher level and define ourselves more precisely. Okay? All right. And then also, the Olympics used again as a global dialogue of societal issues and so on. Let's just leave the Olympics as a competition of sports, okay, and use it that way, and just celebrate the possibilities of what humans can do. That's the way they should be. And those Olympians, right, whether they won gold medals or not, please, whatever you practice, right, learn how to disconnect from the distortions of your past so you can come into those amazing abilities that you all have in pure bliss and in purity. Right? All right. So with that in mind, let's go into some scanning. Okay. So if you want to be scanned, again, not a doctor. Yeah, we'll take about 10 minutes, Demi. Uh, okay. Because I know a lot of you want to be scanned. So we'll take about 10 minutes, guys. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a financial analyst. If I tell you something, I'm just telling you what I see. I'm not diagnosing you or anything. So check with your uh, so-called professionals, I guess, that know everything. That's why most of humanity is diseased. I don't know why they're called professionals, but anyway, all that legals mumbo jumbo. If you want to be scanned, again, I want to go back to that person who has high blood pressure. One of the biggest things, guys, with high blood pressure is obviously the foods you eat. Most of you go. Western philosophy is like, here, take some statins, take some uh, statins and some other drugs and this and this and this, and they'll help you. And again, it weakens you. There's a lot of foods out there. For example, they give you I forgot the name of the drug, but then they go, well, don't eat grapefruit with it, because the drug that they're giving you literally is the same thing as eating, say, a grapefruit, but they'd rather do that. So, or don't eat this. If you're taking this drug, don't eat that. Well, that should just give you a clue that the food that you're not supposed to eat will actually benefit you. Okay? But they want to sell you on drugs. So overall, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do, but whatever they say that you shouldn't take while you're on a medication, research it. And it probably has the components of what that medication without the side effects. Right? That's one thing. You gotta eat healthy. You gotta understand again the certain foods that you need to take. Sugars and carbs and so on are not beneficial for you. High cholesterol and so on. That's your body's way of like trying to heal itself. Hence, you've got high cholesterol. So you're eating something that is probably destroying, your arteries, your veins, your heart, your circulatory system, and then you create cholesterol to heal because that's how you keep young. But then you take those things that take away your cholesterol, and then what happens? You just go in a downward spiral. Again, just take a look at all that stuff. Right? Observe it from an outside point of view, not going, well, they've done a lot of research, so I should study their research and just trust it. Again, this is your life. Take advantage of it. Uh, take control of it and understand. Okay. All right. The other thing, which is really cool, is that a lot of people, since the foods aren't really foods here in this world, unfortunately, they're not really here to benefit us, and that's why we take so many supplements. By the way, which is unfortunate. If you've ever noticed that I take a ton load of supplements because the food that we're eating, especially here in the U.S. If I'm outside the U.S., I don't need to take my supplements. Okay? Not all countries, but again, when I eat organic, non-GMO food, within like a few days, it's like I don't need any supplements. I'm totally fine. So the reason why we have so many supplements is because the food system is not that great. Right. So let's go back to what's worked for billions of years. Right. The one thing that we need, by the way, which I found out, is that a lot of us have God, what is that? A histamine response. Again, not a doctor, guys. I don't know at all, but you have a histamine response. Okay. So what happens is that your arteries like tighten up with too much histamine. And then that's how you get high blood pressure. It might not even be your heart, by the way. So there's this thing, it's really great supplement. You can get it on Amazon. It's Designs for Health. That's the label. There's other labels. This is what I started using. It's homocysteine, HOMOCYSTEINE. Homocysteine Supreme. It helps you, again, especially if you're allergic to a lot of things. You can't eat any of the foods anymore. It's because your histamine response is elevated. Right. Also, along with that, eat fruits, vegetables, even weeds. Good weeds are really fantastic for you, go of your neighborhood. Right. Look at the health benefits of some of the weeds that grow around your house. Make them into teas and all that, and it'll help you with the immune response that you have. All right, we'll move on. Um, this one, Groovy Butterfly, Stuck in Slump. So for you, Groovy Butterfly, what you're really doing is you're starting to see the brilliance of the world and the possibilities, which is really fantastic. And then you kind of feel stuck. When you're in that stuck moment, don't go, "Oh, I'm stuck." Okay? What, it's like, okay, let me explain it again. Take a breath in, Groovy Butterfly, and anybody else in this with this pattern. What you're doing is basically, especially with XI, so basically you go in cycles. It's the Fibonacci sequence, if you're interested in the math behind it. You always go in cycles. Things never go straight up. If they do, they're very, very destructive, and they always collapse. Stock markets and so on like that, by the way. They don't follow the natural, say, inclination, right? They don't follow the natural rise of going up, strengthening, going up, strengthening, going up. So for you, Groovy Butterfly, when you go up, it feels really great. It feels awesome there. But then at this level right here, you start going down. When you start going down, reassociate the meaning of when you go back down. When you feel stuck, for example, start to go, okay, it's like, yeah, I like it up here, but I need to go back down and let go of those things that I don't need anymore. That's what that purpose is for. So if you're feeling stuck, it's this is where you go, gosh, I'm feeling stuck. This is all the bullshit that's holding you back. So instead of going, yeah, I'm feeling stuck, and then getting into that bullshit, you go, okay, what frequencies am I letting go of that I'm feeling stuck in so I can move forward? Again, you go up and you go, gosh, this feels really great here. And then I want to stay here at this level or even go higher. You have to go back down, clean up, get better, and then you rise again. So the stuck moments for you are really fantastic opportunities to really look at yourself and go, okay, this and this and this I need to strengthen or get rid of. Right? So it's a great opportunity for you, hon. And if you use that cycle, the stuck patterns actually are exciting because those are moments of growth for you, expansion for you. All right. All right. Pamela, I'd love a scan. Uh, um, so, so for you, hon, you hold on to an identity. I think you've cared for a masculine identity, and they might have passed away, or you might have gotten divorced. It could be like a father figure or a husband or something like that. That identity, though, is so close to you. So if they leave you, you just feel like, uh-oh, like if they just detach, I'm no one. Okay, so you're at a level, Pamela, with whatever that you've done, that's like, yep, I really don't need that, say, approval, basically, or connection or support from this person. And it doesn't mean physical support, but a support of your identity. Okay. So can you let that go? Do you want to let it go? If you do, take a deep breath in, right? You really don't need somebody else to create an identity for you. Simple as that. Right? You're strong enough, you can separate that, and then that's where you can really feel strong. And this is where I think your breathing, your lungs can actually feel free for the first time. So take a breath in, Pamela. You're really ready. Uh, there we go. Jenny Silva, I'm stuck in a relationship and financial lack, feeling like I can't move forward until these things change. Nope. That's your way. It's like, well, I need this stuff to clear out first before I take that step forward. Okay. Your PowerPoint is a present moment. Okay. So what you're seeing, and did you notice that your relationships and your financial and your health and everything else associated in your world is basically the same pattern. It literally is the same pattern. And this pattern is not about financials or even your relationship, by the way. Because if you go and find another relationship, it'll turn out to be the same thing. You have more finances, and people who are millionaires, they'll feel the same thing, right? It doesn't really matter. Again, what is it in you, hon, that's allowing this pattern to happen? So ask yourself, it's like, well, why am I stuck? You're feeling stuck anyway, just like the last, what is it, groovy butterfly? Just like that last person, hon. Use that stuck feeling, not to like, go, I need that outside, outside I need my outside environment to change before I go forward. No, you're creating your outside environment. You're creating your future. So go inwards and ask yourself, okay, what pattern is it in me that always allows this to happen to me? When you were 4, 5, 6 years old, from what I'm seeing, you couldn't do some of the things that you wanted to do, right? It seems like your mom or your dad, it's like, no, honey, you can't do that. So that's the pattern that you're running, by the way. Right? I just gave you that clue. 4, 5, look at you. It's like everything that you wanted to do. It's like, no, honey, you can't do that. And they said it in a loving way. And you go, oh, okay. And then you basically dumbed yourself down and you didn't experience the life that you should have, especially as when you were in your teens, right? And again, who's that? Jenny Silva. That pattern is your life now. So release that pattern through some of the hyper meditations that we do. You're almost ready to release that. It's showing up for you if you're doing all that stuff to go, that's the pattern that I need to release. Why am I creating why am I creating my future that way? And when you release that pattern, it's time to let go of it, hon. Take a deep breath in. Notice your throat. Seems like your throat always chalks up when you can't express yourself as well, hon. Those are all the same patterns, hon. Once you release that, you'll see that your financial will come through. You might actually see that your relationship actually might reconnect, or it's like, hey, I'm free. I don't need this relationship anymore. Either way. This one, Aaron Moss, I have a spirit attack. Can you help, please? Uh, sure. Um, so, um, So there's spirit attacks. There are frequencies that do attack you, hon, Aaron. But from what I'm seeing, and again, I could be wrong, but from what I'm seeing, but probably not. But what I'm seeing is that your family, especially your mom, runs from so much superstition. A lot of religious people, they think it's if I just do this, I'm going to go to hell. So that's the kind of pattern that you've been raised in, by the way, unfortunately. So now it's like things happen to you and it's like, shit, things are attacking me, and they could be attacking you, but I don't see anything really attacking you. It's just that you're so scared that any little movement, you go, oh shit, what was that? I think that's attacking me. And it just could be a leaf that brushed on your shoulder, for example. And it's like, ah, God, so that's the kind of pattern that you're running. You got to let that go, right? There's really nothing around you attacking you, by the way. Maybe at one time it was, but you probably cleaned it up. I don't see anything like that. Now you're just in a state of fear. So as you go, huh, what the fuck, you know? Yeah. Spirit attack. No, it's just you're at Aaron. You're at a point, if you've done enough XI, you're at a point that you need to let go of the fear that might have attacked, your a generation past. It's just in your lineage that everything is just like frightful for you. You've been raised basically being scared of everything. Right. So again, just stand in that space, be afraid, and look at what you're afraid of, and you go, oh. Like, you know how you're in the dark, you're afraid, and then somebody turns the light on. It's like, oh, okay. It's the same environment. Like Elon Musk, it's like the darkness. He used to be afraid of the dark till he realized it's like the dark is just has no photons, less photons than the light. That's all it is. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll go one last one. Zarina. Yeah. So for you, hon, you're actually doing really, really, really great. I think you're getting into claiming of who you are, which is really beautiful, which is really fantastic. So good job. And then now it's time to shed, maybe the cultural patterns or the familial patterns, and step into your own space. Almost, I don't know if it is right, but it's like you want to start a family, or you want to connect, or you want to go into designing your own life outside of the family structure. I would go for it. It doesn't mean that you walk away from the family. It just means that you expand the possibilities of what the family could be. All right, guys. As we end, guys, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing, and then once you start to notice the details of what you're noticing, you ask yourself, "What is it in me that's allowing me to notice that, and why do I have such emotions towards it?" Okay, and then delete that pattern. All right. As always, guys, be your best. Notice what you're noticing. Oh, there you know that's perfect. Yes, perfect. Congratulations. All right. So again, peace, guys. Take care.